in Mexico, like in the UK, it was like an earthquake. One could even say that COVID-19 was unprecedented in the ways that it uncovered so quickly and so clearly the reigning politics of carelessness. So many of the historic crimes that governments have perpetuated against their own populations were exposed, revealing how through decades of neoliberal and neo-colonial policies, the longevity and life chances of millions of people across the globe have been profoundly curtailed. The impact of neoliberal policies on healthcare, livelihood, working conditions, food security, shelter, and education, particularly as they affected racialized and marginalized groups, not least migrants, became tragically apparent. Indeed, the events in March and since March 2020 threw into sharp relief not only the illusion of the so-called autonomous subject, which informs liberal thought and liberal democracies, but also, and more crucially, that interdependency is constitutive of the human condition, and indeed of all life on the planet, human and non-human alike. And in the paper, we don't rehearse the many, many criticisms involving the abstract nature of the liberal subject or the limited conception of freedom it advances. Rather, what is most important for our argument is how the liberal subject, which has shaped the subject of human rights, is inevitably positioned as either independent or dependent, where independence has historically been identified with autonomy, with action, with rational reasoning, and has, of course, also been gendered and racialized as white and male. By contrast, dependency has been linked to emotive, feminized, and racialized behavior, and associated with childhood, women, the poor, as well as the frailty that comes with old age. And within this binary framework, which again is part and parcel of the liberal imagination, independence is clearly coded as good and the normative ideal, while dependency is coded as lacking in full human potential and therefore negative. Any manifestation of dependency, particularly among adults, has, in other words, not only been associated with a lack of liberty, lack of freedom, but has also been feminized, racialized, and really pathologized. So the subject of human rights is imagined and constituted in a very similar fashion. And even though contemporary human rights discourse might not perform the same overtly gendered, racial, and class exclusions as 18th and 19th century liberal political thought, human rights reports, as we show in the paper, continue to assume and constitute the ideal subject as an abstract and autonomous individual. Indeed, the human rights lens portray the subject as either dependent or independent, clearly shaping the conception of emancipation as a move from dependency to independence. So by presupposing independence as the normative ideal and dependence as its opposite, human rights, like liberal and neoliberal discourses, disavow the inexorable interdependence of all human beings at every stage of life, and consequently perpetuates a vision of justice based on the individualized subject and individual freedom.